I interrupt this scheduled broadcast to actually thank Mr. Sword for what he did. Thank you for the shout out once again. You made my night. It was first a little bit scary. I didn't know what was going on until I rushed to the computer and noticed that people were commenting that you sent them. So again, thank you, and hope everybody enjoys their stay. Well, let's move on with the video. Hello there, I'm the Rampant Mystic, and welcome to No Man's Sky and the new update. And this is why we are here, not in modded permadeath. Today we are going to be showing all the updated features in No Man's Sky, so enjoy. Alrighty, so first of all, you actually have to purchase the Minotaur Geobay for 10 salvage data. Now, as you can see, I do have a bunch at the construction module in the space station. Afterwards, it does actually have some upgrades that need to be purchased as well from the Exocraft terminal here in the Nexus as well. And after we're done, we're actually going to be going to test it out. And let's see. So the Minotaur is supposed to be the epitome, or however you properly pronounce it, of the Exocrafts. But yes, these are all the new upgrades. You're going to need a decent chunk of nanite clusters if you don't have any. There are a good 4, 5, 6, 7, and plus these 3. That is a total of 10. Oh, 11 new ones. So I'm going to quickly pick them up and let's see what they do. And those are 5 metal plating, 4 ion batteries, and 100 paraffinum. Once the bay is built, this is how the Minotaur arrives. And these are all the resources we are actually going to be needing to build every single one of the new systems on the Minotaur. So, well, of course, this is actually including the new Icarus fuel system, which actually is basically solar panels for your exocraft, allowing it to regenerate its fuel during the daytime. So this is something good as well. This is something that I have wanted for a little bit. So let's quickly build them all. Alrighty, so we have everything here installed in our Minotaur, and this is self-greasing servos, which apparently reduces the fuel consumption. Of course, the Icarus fuel systems, which we already talked about. We have the general Minotaur laser, which is the multi-tool, basically, the laser beam, the mining beam. We have precision Minotaur lasers, which is actually really good. Increases your mining beam efficiency, in general laser power, and well, laser power, a lot of laser power. And we have the Minotaur bore, which is basically the terrain manipulator. The other thing we have is the cannon, which is our aggressive weapon, and the radar array, which apparently has been improved now, so that when it does scan, it scans and shows everything nearby. Indeed it does. I believe they didn't used to show the minor things. Now this is how the Minotaur moves, which is very interesting. Let me actually go into first person mode. Oh, this is nice. It is very immersive. I do understand that this was very well built with VR in mind, so this is going to be very interesting, even though I don't have a VR set. Let's look at the, okay, so the one selling point of the Minotaur is that it is the new Exosuit 2.0 of sorts. So we have the laser and we have the cannon. It's all basic stuff. But apparently with the Minotaur, you don't need to get out of it. And as of now, every single other exocraft does not actually remove the environment. So basically you are not protected while in the other exocraft except in the Minotaur. That being said though, it is kind of difficult to mine with it. Let me actually try. Oh, that's the terrain manipulator. That's why it's difficult to mine. Let me see. It is very difficult to move the mouse on it though. Yeah. But it is interesting. It's definitely a new mode of transportation. Very slow mode of transportation. Even though we do have the accelerator, this thing does not appear to... Oh, it has a jetpack. That's why it has an accelerator. Okay, let's look at the jetpack from the third-person perspective. Okay, that covers a decent distance, and I do like the way it stops. They have obviously put in a little bit of thought into that. Okay, in third person mode, it is a lot easier to actually control the beam. In first person mode, it feels very sluggish. It feels as though it is on ice, and at the same time, it is very hard. I am basically battling with my mouse in order for this to move from one end of the screen to the other. It is very difficult, but I do understand that the cockpit is built with VR primarily in mind, so that is absolutely understandable. So it is something that PC users like myself, without a VR headset, would have to use the third person mode, which is absolutely fine, even though this thing takes up most of the screen. Now let's get on with the second part of its selling point. Alrighty, so as you can see, the Colossus that I currently have out is not actually protecting me from the weather. It is ticking down very slowly, probably not as slowly as it would if I was on foot, but it is ticking down slowly. Now, another thing, except for the fact that the exocraft is fully protecting you from any environmental damage, is the fact that the exocraft can apparently pick up storm crystals without actually having to leave it. So let's check that out quickly. Alrighty, there's our first storm crystal. Let's see. You can pick stuff up without actually exiting the exocraft. That is really good. Now let's check out in first person mode how it looks like. Alrighty, here we are in first person mode, and it is as simple as that. Now the problem that I did actually come across is actually having to turn around facing the storm crystal. That is actually very difficult. For example, let me show you with this rock. I'm going to go in third person mode and I'm going to try to face it with my back. Well, face it with my back. Like, just watch this. I'm supposed to be turning around, but it is very, very slow. It is very, very cumbersome. Now let me try and turn around. Let me try and face this big thing. I'm currently pressing W and A to turn left. Now I cannot turn left by standing still. I'm trying to. I'm currently pressing the button, but that is not working. So this is the only way. You have to do these big maneuvers in order to just face the simple material. Okay, of course I destroyed it. Now that's not normally a problem in third person mode because I can just do this, target backwards, and pick up whatever I want. That was not what I meant to do. But in first person mode, that is a big issue. I cannot target anything past this line. That's it. So this means if something is below me to the ground, there is no way I can pick it up. It is very hard to maneuver, even though apparently you can sort of maneuver it when holding the backwards button. But as I'm currently holding the backwards button and we're going sort of forward, I'm not entirely sure what's going on. But yeah, there's that. Anyway, off to the next thing. Alright, so the next thing we're going to be talking about is the exocraft reduction in environmental damage. Now, because it was basically removed, and now they only reduce the damage you take to the shields, we now have these that we already bought in the station. Most of the new stuff you can buy at the station. These are the new shielding, which entirely prevent certain types of hazardous damage. So this one is the megawatt heater, which prevents freezing damage. This one is the air filtration unit, which provides resistance to toxic environments. The neutron shielding, which provides protection against radioactive environments, and the thermal buffer, which provides protection against scorched environments. Crater room, to be a bit more precise, added into the new update, which apparently allows you to materialize any exocraft on any planet. Now, of course, this does require 150 gold, 50 ionized cobalt, and 3 warp cells. It has absolutely nothing you can interact inside with it, but it should work down on the planet, so let's try it out, right? Let's try and summon the exocraft. So now we do have on this specific planet the Minotaur, which does arrive kind of cool, I do have to admit that, but maybe that's its only advantage, currently the cool factor. But yeah, it does appear that I can summon absolutely everything I want here. Now we do have these 3 on the planet already, so I should have been able to summon them anyway, but I do not have the Nomad. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is apparently now the exocraft exterior will be matched with the interior. So this is why I changed the color on my buggy here, on the roamer, to orange and blue. Let's see, the inside, it is orangish. It is, I don't see a change. Well, there is an easy way to find out if there is a change. I can just change it to a different color. So we're not going to be using orange, we're going to be using white. and we're going to be using black. And let's see what happens. Yes, apply. Let's see, has there been any change? There does not appear to have been any change. It is entirely possible that that is for other exocraft, but I do not see any visible change. Maybe I'm just blind. It is entirely possible. That is about it. The other thing that they've added is apparently now you can use decals that you've bought with Quicksilver on these exocraft. Another thing that they've actually done is apparently when you're inside, the coordinates will now show up, and it appears they do. Down on the left, those did not used to show up. Now they do, for the exocraft specifically. You used to have to go out and look at your analysis visor in order to actually see your proper coordinates. Of course, this being with the Living Ship update, that is actually very good. And the last thing we're going to be checking out today is the power lines. Apparently, Hello Games have finally realized that we like to hide these. Nobody likes to see them. Now, I've expressly built these just so that we can show power cables. Now, the new thing that they've added, again, purchased from the space station, from the Anomaly, you go into here, and it is an electrical cloaking unit, which costs 1 metal plating, 30 gold, and 40 chromatic metal. But what it does is supposedly hides all the electrical wiring in your base. I believe it doesn't matter where it is. Now you're probably wondering, oh, but that didn't hide anything. It is not supposed to while you're in the construction menu, but as soon as I exit, they should vanish. And there they are. They are missing. They do not exist. That is actually wonderful. Now, of course, as soon as I go back into the menu, they are back again. And if I remove it, they're going to be back as well. That is wonderful. That is a change that I would like to see more of. For somebody like me who does enjoy from time to time building a base, this is a wonderful change. This means I don't have to make something really complex just so that I can hide a bunch of wires. Alright, so my final thoughts on the new Mech Exocraft. Now, although it is a little bit clunky, it does potentially have its uses, and I am hoping that Hello Games actually do patch in some extra movement to it, some maneuverability. I do realize from actually playing with the exosuit for a little bit that it is probably totally geared towards VR, and it would probably be very awesome to play it in VR, but at the same time, it can be better. Hopefully they'll make it a little bit more maneuverable in the future, and of course we are still waiting for the S-Class modules to actually be released. Well, actually all modules to be released, but hopefully soon on that. For now though, I've been the Rampant Mystic. I do hope you enjoyed this episode of No Man's Sky, and I do hope to see you all around.